Hey guys, welcome back to the shop, Chris MLC. Now in this video, we are going to address one question not one, but a couple questions I've had about my tubing bender. We used it briefly in a video for doing the bumper, but I really didn't get into depth with it, so we're going to talk about it here for a little bit. The bender I have is a JD Square Model 4. It is a different breed of bender because it uses, I think there's 3 different die sets you can use for this thing. Model 4, I think Model 2, and one other, but you can't use the Model 32. Those won't work with it. I think in square, I have half, 3/4, 1, and 1.5. And then in round tube, I have half, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1 5/8, 1 3/4, and 2. And then in pipe, I have 1.5" pipe and 2" pipe. But the one we have in it right now is a 1". And I believe this is a Model 2. I'm gonna have to double check myself. If I'm wrong, I'll put it on the screen here. But these are Model 2s, and let me get a Model 4. Because this is a Model 4. That's 1.25". So with the Model 4 die, the biggest difference is you don't have the little tail piece here, the bolt, and then the little saddle guy that goes over the back of the tube. Now with most dies, you just keep moving this thing around and you'll keep turning. This will keep rotating around. Oh, you just have to keep repinning. Now with the Model 4, you put this in and then you pin the die through one of the holes according to wherever it tells you to put it. Like the forming die, like it says, okay, there's the top of the die. And it tells you this goes in hole 5. And right there, it has an M, like down here, has an M4. Then that goes towards the bottom. Now, if you look, there's a kicked edge, an angled edge. Now that edge there goes to the front. So yeah, your forming die goes into the first arm here. And then you have like a backstop buck die that goes on the stationary arm. Now you can pin these older dies, you can either pin them in place through the arm here, and then you just have to sort of, there's no designated holes for these, for the dies that aren't Model 4. You just have to move around till you find the set that works the best. And since this thing has the bolt in the back, we can take this, we don't have to pin this die in place. We can roll this around to match the tube, and then we can run this bolt out till she's tight. And between this die and that bolt, that will hold our tube in place. It makes a lot more sense once you start to use it. It doesn't quite work like a standard bender, but it kind of does. All right, now on this first tube, this is where I want the bend to start. So the bend's gonna start here, and we're gonna roll forward. So our bend will just go through here. So what we wanna do is, I've already bent 1" with this, so we move this die up, slide her on through, bring that around. We'll sort of I like to move this bolt until this surface here is parallel with the tube we're bending, which that's pretty good right there. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but what we wanna do is, our mark is right there. So what we wanna do is we wanna bring that mark till it's even with the back side of the forming die here. So right now, we move this back a little bit. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna pull the cylinder out of its saddle there. Okay. So pull that there. Now we're even. Okay, and then we just sort of, there. Now we've taken all of the slack out of this. So this die is rotated around tight against the tube. The tube is tight against this back die. So now what we want to do is we want to note where this arm is on the scale. So there's 35, 36, 37. So we're 37 degrees. So now we want to go look at our drawing. And we want to go 55 degrees. So we are starting at 37, we're going to 55. So that's 92 degrees. Then we want to add, this DOM springs back 3 or 4 degrees. So we're going to go 3 degrees at first. So we're going to go 95 degrees on this scale to get us to 55. Now on the Model 4, you also have like this little lever over here. You want to take that, flip it in. And what that does, it comes around here and it catches these sawtooth. So when you get to where you have to switch your cylinder, it has a positive stop and you're going to decrease the chance of wrinkling your tube. So we need to get this back in here. Okay, now we're ready to start. So I don't think we're gonna get to this sawtooth. So when we get to this one, we'll let this arm come through, grab that, and then we'll move. Here, let me put this over here so we can see that. We'll let this go ahead and get here and we'll rehook the cylinder. Okay, as soon as that cuts in there, we'll let off. We'll put it back into a push slot, and we'll keep on heading 95. So at this point, we're getting close. There's 88. We're almost to our next lock. There's 91, 92. 93, 94, 95. Now let's pull this off here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to let this off, pressure off. We're going to see how much she springs back, and it should be about 3 degrees. And there it is, right back 3 degrees. Now it's just a matter of taking pressure off the cylinder. And there we go. 4 tubes. It's a good bender, and like I said, the standard die here, I'll put one of the Model 4 dies. I'll put the forming die in there real fast so you can see how the Model 4 die goes in there. Like I said, this is a Model 2, and what we'll do is we'll just pull this die. That's how you set in the Model 4 die. See, on this one, you pull this pin, you know, die can move freely like a standard bender would. You put that pin in, put that in there. Then we get the 1¼ stop die, we put it back here. Then we put the forming die in there, and it works just the way we just bent the other tube. We got a really good deal on this bender a while back, and I didn't really mess with it too much. And there's really not a lot of videos about that bender on YouTube. There's one by JD Square, but it shows him bending a tube, but it doesn't really go into how to use the thing. Like here, like I drew mine, like mine is done in SolidWorks, so I know where my bend is to start. It's 10 inches from the end here, and I want that bend to start there, and that's a 3-inch centerline radius bend. So that makes it easy, and it'll do decent bends. Like this is a rear tube for a Chevelle control arm. So here's the tube, and you can accomplish this bend easily with that bender. So here we are with this bend is on this plane, come in here, and I believe this was like 20 degrees, 25 degrees. And then we got to come back here, right, you know, I think it was 3 inches or 2 inches from that bend, because you can see the mark here, right here is where that bend mark ends. Sorry, right there's where that one ends. And then this one starts. Let's look at it. You can see the slight pucker there. So that one starts right there. I mean, so we can easily do a bend. Get the tape measure up here. So easily, these two bends, 2 3/4 inches in between the quadrants of this bend. And that did it easily. Like I said, we did this one on this plane, and then, so that first bend's on that plane, and then the second bend is on another plane. And like this is the long tube. There's a shorter one. Here's the other one. I mean, this one's been cut. This one here's been cut off because that had a different setup in it. Like that had the insert with the Heim joint. This one's cut to have a monoball on the end. But I mean, there's a control arm, and it literally, I can bend both them. You know, lay out these tubes and bend these tubes. That bender in probably about 5 minutes. That has been a great investment. I almost sold it here last summer to get a Rogue Fab, but then I changed my mind, because for what I paid for this thing, with every die I have, I couldn't even touch the base model. I think the chassis fab or whatever, that one kit. But now that I've got the hang of this thing, I absolutely love it. Yeah, so that's about it with this thing. If there's any questions you have about it, or if you have one, leave some comments down below. I was actually thinking about maybe starting like a Facebook page for Model 4 users for, you know, sharing tips and tricks or advice with each other on using this thing. But I kind of want to cut, it came on this stand and it was bolted to the floor, and I sort of just made this little X tripod roll around for it. I want to put it down a little lower, and I thought about putting it on making a rectangular cart for it, tubing, and that way I could put the dies on it. Not all the dies, you know. There's like I said, the 1 3/4, maybe the 2 inch, the 1¼ inch, the 1 inch, the 1.5 inch for sure, And then I do use some of the squares. I'd also like to thank everybody for the feedback on the table. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we'll build the second one here soon because I have some projects being quoted right now, and it would definitely be nice to have that second table for upcoming shop projects. I got another video I gotta release about the bolt together lift. I'm getting ready to build some more of that. I've cut some spacers tonight for it. Got them turned down on the lathe. So those are all done. Those tubes we just bent are for that. So we got to cut some angle. Got one of the link arms up here on the table. I'm rejigging one because I want to check that. Get this thing powder coated and I'll show you one assembled. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. If you haven't yet, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Remember to hit the bell icon down in the corner so you know when I upload new material. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.